me back to the place I know, with the mystery shack and the forest gnomes. I'm already packed, so come on, let's go. Don't get me started, my heart's in Gravity Falls. Welcome to Mystery Shack Look Back, a nostalgic time capsule and no spoiler book club of the original Gravity Falls fandom. We are your curators. I'm Charlie.
I'm Ella. Charlie, what episode of Gravity Falls are we talking about today?
Oh, my dearest Ella. Today we are talking about Carpet Diem, the 16th episode of the first season of Gravity Falls.
Oh yeah? When did it come out?
It premiered on April 5th, 2013 on Disney Channel.
April 5th, 2013. You know, Charlie, as I recall, that was a Friday.
Oh, you have a fantastic memory, Ella.
Well, this one stuck out because it was freakier than most Fridays.
You know what? Now that I think about it, yeah, not like today, though. I mean, first of all, it's Wednesday. But also, comparing that particular Friday to today, that Friday was pretty freaky.
No, I think there's nothing weird about our current conversation at all, Charlie. I don't even know why you'd say that.
No, you're right, Ella. You're right. This episode was directed by Joe Pitt, written by Tim McKeown, Zach Paez, and Alex Hirsch.
I would like to watch it.
Would you, Ella?
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea for the podcast.
Watching an episode of Gravity Falls and then talking about it. You know what? That is just crazy enough to work. Let's do this.
Friday, April 5th.
Did we just switch bodies?
Mm-hmm. Can you tell who's who?
Am I in your body?
Am I in your body? Do you know what's what?
Guess who?
Disney Channel's Freaky Freakin'.
We're all trapped in each other's bodies.
8 episodes, 3 huge nights, 1 freaky event.
Oh no! I'm a dog!
Freaky, freaky. What are you guys staring at?
Starting Friday, April 5th at 8, 7 Central on Disney Channel.
So we just watched Carpet Diem, which I think is the worst episode title.
Aw, I like it.
Oh, it's stupid.
Well, I think it's funny. Because it sounds like Carpe Diem, but it says carpet.
Which means seize the day. So seize the day with a carpet, or carpet the day?
It's Carpet Day.
Yeah, does Carpet Diem mean carpet day?
Maybe it is. It certainly is a Carpet Day. Well, why don't we start where the episode starts, with Attic Stuff Mini Golf, which is a game that Dipper and Mabel have, I guess, invented.
So, yeah, Attic Stuff Mini Golf is briefly in this episode. A lot of the fans are a little bit more familiar with it because it was adapted into a Disney Channel website game.
Oh, a hit Flash game.
It was adapted into a Flash game. There's not a whole lot there. We don't need to cover it. All right, I've alluded to this enough that I'll just say it. I told you in the Summerween episode that I made a Jack-O-Melon. I used to date the admin of the Gravity Falls wiki. So that was the type of stuff we would do together. We would do Attic Stuff Mini Golf Day, or we would do Summerween Day, where we carve a Jack-O-Melon and dress up in costumes. And yeah, so I have played Attic Stuff Mini Golf. Charlie, it's a real blast. I'd love to do it with you at some point. I mean, it creates a little bit of a mess, but yeah, it's basically part 1 is a craft project, part 2 is a sport.
And I think mini golf is objectively the best sport.
Yeah, I think the second someone was like, what if there was like a windmill and you have to putt it at the right time?
Golf has been redeemed.
Yeah, I think the people who own country clubs at that point should have gone like, all right, shut it down. This guy's putting windmills
Convert
in.
it into, affordable housing land, because
This is now all acres of homeless shelter.
We don't need this much space to... It actually turns out that the less space you have, the more fun golf is.
This guy built a golf course in a strip mall, and it's just better than ours in every way, so,
Yeah,
let's kind of consolidate if we want this to be fun for people.
Yeah. And from the very start, you were pointing out how great the opening shot of the totem pole in the Mystery Shack is, and there's a lot of great shots in this episode. Joe Pitt did a really good job directing.
Yeah, the art is astounding in this one, and
just the shot choices. There's so many, interesting dynamic camera angles and stuff.
there are a lot of borders on this one, which is part of it.
Yeah, probably.
There are 5 credited. Joe Pitt is Alex's college roommate. It's fascinating seeing him come into his own as a director and hearing Alex come into his own as a voice actor.
Yeah! Yeah.
This episode and the last one, I was like, is Alex good at this now? Not that he was bad at it.
Feeling more comfortable for sure.
Yeah, it went from sounding like a creator cameo to sounding like a voice actor.
Now we have, why am I even out here at night? It hit me right on the head! And I love that for the first part of this episode, when we see Grunkle Stan, he's got a version of his outfit we've never seen before, where it's like his Mr. Mystery suit, but it's an unbuttoned jacket and an undone tie, and there's not really any reason for that not to have just been either the regular suit or his underwear look that he has later. But I think it makes it feel a lot more real that, like, he maybe just got done with a tour and he's not fully undressed yet. I don't know. They didn't have to do it, but it's a nice detail, and they probably had to make a whole new, like, model sheet for it, because it's a very unique look.
Charlie, do you know what a railroad house is?
I do not, Ella. Please enlighten me.
So a railroad house is a house where every room has one exit and one entrance, like railroad cars.
Ah.
So I grew up in a very small railroad house. I see you've written in the notes that you, because you're an only child, don't have an experience, fighting over a room.
Right.
And I just realized I was not present for it, but two happened in my house. So we had a very small house. You needed to enter my bedroom to get into my parents' bedroom. My older sister shared a bedroom. My parents shared a bedroom. And I had my own bedroom. And then at some point when I was very little, my sister sharing a bedroom became a point of contention. They got old enough to develop personalities and no longer were comfortable spending that much free time together and were arguing a lot. But we had a very small house.
Yeah.
So my sister Emily wound up moving into the dining room.
Ah.
And then my parents separated. So my dad slept on the couch. So the living room, you enter the house and immediately you're in the living room. You keep walking and you're in the dining room. You keep walking and you're in the kitchen, which is where the only bathroom was.
So you went from having 3 bedrooms to 5 bedrooms.
Yeah, it wound up that the bathroom and the kitchen were the only rooms in the house in which no one was sleeping.
Gotcha.
So I don't know what the situation was like with my sisters causing this split. And honestly, when I first watched this episode, I was like, probably like this. This is probably exactly how it went.
Yeah, because Dipper and Mabel begin to disagree about sharing the space when Mabel starts having Candy and Grenda over more often. And it comes to a head when Seuss, for the second time, discovers a new room in the Mystery Shack.
This one has furniture. The last one was just a storage space for the wax figures.
Yeah, true. I don't know. I can't relate to that experience either, but I know it's an exciting feeling of like, whoa, a new space. What can I use it for, Like,
I actually have this one as well, Charlie. Because, so despite the fact that I grew up in such a small house and had to play video games to feel any sense of exploration, there were technically 3 rooms in the basement. I have only been in the third twice. I lived there for 11 years. So there was this just part of my house that I almost never saw. The reason being that around the time I was born was also around the time that studies started showing that asbestos is not a good idea of a building material. And that became a big news story around that time. And so the way my dad rectified this was, I can't afford to get someone to come in and remove the asbestos from the basement. So I will use that as my office when I'm doing homework, because he was going to grad school at the time, and just not let the kids go in there under any circumstances.
Okay.
So, yeah, there was a room in my house that every time I did find the opportunity to see, I'd be like, whoa, this is here, oh my god, that's where this is! Oh.
A slightly different flavor to that, where it's the do not go here under any circumstances thing, like, very Coraline of, whoa, I'm not supposed to be in here.
I always confuse the compartment that Coraline crawls in with the one that leads to John Malkovich.
Oh, maybe they get the tunnels mixed up at some point.
Coraline's like, where's my other mother? Wait, why am I John Malkovich?
Yeah, John Malkovich is like, you're not my mother.
It's so stupid.
Very. In this room, many, many, many little details that we will get to later, but Specifically, there is the titular carpet.
You saying the titular carpet implies that you're like, that's it, the carpet diem.
Well, yes.
If soup du jour is soup of the day, is carpet diem the carpet of the day?
What can you recommend off your carpets today?
Oh, well, the carpet diem is a lovely shag for the more 70s flavor.
Ooh, yes, that sounds fantastic. Yes. Yeah, it's a great design. I love that they specify that it's shag.
Oh, yeah, and the drawing of the little hairs that make up the shag carpet is beautifully detailed.
Yeah, and it's got this kind of arrow symbol design foreshadowing what it does.
And what does it do, Charlie?
It creates the weirdness of the episode. It swaps minds because something electrons science explanation that is good enough.
Yeah, because static shocks are when you're trading an electron, and brain activity is...
electricity, yeah.
Yeah, so something.
Good enough.
Question mark, profit.
Like in Little Dipper, the device used to create the weirdness is unique and specific, because this totally could have just been a generic gadget, like it could have been a generic shrink ray in Little Dipper, but, you know, it is shuffling feet on the carpet and giving you a static shock is a very common experience, whether you hate it or use it to torment other people. You know, I've never seen this used in any other show to be a body-swapping trope, and I don't know, I just really like that. It's very playful.
When Tony Goldmark came on for Time Traveler's Pig, he was talking about when you have time travel fiction, you need to figure out what is the time machine.
That's true, yeah, there as well. It's a very unique, specific thing that I haven't seen done before.
But also, with time travel, you have to, like, that's part of the genre. There are no genre rules of body swap or shrink race.
That's a good point. Maybe I was thinking, I guess for this, I was confusing it with, like, The Fly, where it's like, oh, it's always some kind of transporter device that goes wrong. But no, that just switches your head. That doesn't switch your brains, really.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the closest example is Freaky Friday.
Yeah, and Freaky Friday isn't a science device. It's always magic.
Yeah, is it? All 4 times?
I'm pretty sure it's always magic. I don't think it's ever science. This episode isn't really like any of those, because it's not really about seeing from the other person's... I guess there's a little bit of that. Well, but the way they tie it in is that we're already, having to share a room, but also having to share bodies.
As I've said before, the way they would write these Season 1 episodes is, what is a problem you encounter as a preteen, and what's a fun supernatural bit? And then they'll kind of try and mix and match them to see which tells the most compelling story.
And I think this is a really good one for that.
Yeah, combining body swap fiction with the idea of twins growing apart in personality and not being able to share a bedroom anymore. Because when you know you're having a kid, you set up a bedroom.
Yeah.
And then when you get a little bonus,
yeah.
Hey, something's gone terribly wrong. I'm still giving birth. You're holding the baby, right? Okay, let's just hope this one's a baby too.
No. Wait a minute. If the baby's here, what's coming out of your body?
And they're like, all right, she's trying to trick me. I already got the baby. She almost fooled me there. Let's send her home.
You like to pull a fast one.
So this is probably based off of Alex Hirsch's childhood more than anyone else, because he is the one on the staff with a twin.
And when they swap Dipper and Mabel's bodies, They do switch the voices, which obviously helps you track who is who, but they also tweak the designs a little bit. Dipper, when Mabel is in his body, Dipper gets a little curlier hair and has kind of the puffy cheeks that Mabel has, and does the thing from the first episode.
Irresistible!
Yeah, with her arms.
I've said many times that Dipper is not based on Alex. Ariel is based on Mabel, and Dipper is based on the idea that Alex was a twin. But you compare Pilot Dipper, which Alex wrote by himself, with Tourist Trapped Dipper, which is the same plot, but was written in a writer's room. They're not the same character. Dipper doesn't really have a personality in the unaired pilot. And that's because Dipper was kind of designed by committee. They would come up with stories and then come up with a character that is pushing the stories forward and then being like, Well, they called it protagonitis when Dipper would go, we must do this because it is the plot of today's episode, basically. And they'd have to come up with personality reasons for that to be what Dipper was doing.
Yeah.
And that kind of dictated Dipper's personality more than anything else. However, being designed by all of his employees gave them, in this episode, the opportunity to use the character to make fun of him. They needed them to do each other's gestures. Mabel has unique gestures. Dipper does not. So they have to establish one in the episode so we could see Mabel doing it later. And they had the real-life Dipper, to some extent, in front of them, who, yes, I believe it was described by Rob Ronzetti that when he would leave the room, he would leave 5 pens in his wake.
And in this episode, they established that Dipper is constantly clicking his pen at night while he's reading, and so he clicks the pen while he's in Mabel's body. On top of giving Mabel's body eye bags and, I guess, frizzier hair, less, more unkempt hair.
I've heard someone say it's a particular nitpick of theirs when they do body swaps by just trading voice actors.
Yeah, I guess. I get that.
They said the way they wish they did it is the actors did impressions of each other.
Yeah, and there's the only example I can think of where they did it that way, and I really loved it, was Steven Universe, the episode The New Lars, where Steven accidentally swaps his mind and the character Lars, and so Lars's voice actor, Matthew Moy, gets to do an impression of Zach Callison as Steven Universe, and it is fantastic.
And they do it in Community as well, in what is oft considered the only good episode of Season 4.
So I get both perspectives,
But the difficult thing with animation is... Okay, so Jason Ritter and Kristen Schaal are effectively doing their normal voices. They're bringing it up in pitch a little. These are pitches they naturally speak while talking, but they have more a range of pitches in the normal voice, and here they try to keep the lower range out.
Yeah.
But it's not like either of them are making character choices, really.
Yeah.
Like, they're in character, but they're not doing something with their, like, oh, gotta get my Dipper voice down.
Yeah, they don't have, like, quirks, necessarily.
Which would mean that for that to happen in this episode, either Alex Hirsch or Ginny McSwain would effectively need to learn an impression of both of them and teach them to the other actor.
Yeah, so like I was saying, as cool as it is as an idea, I get why a lot of the time they just switch the voices. And it's also, I think they make up for it by doing those little design changes. Like, I think that's really clever and a nice touch.
And then Mabel gets taught about...
the birds and the bees.
Cis male puberty.
Yep.
Puberty classes for those who don't have sex ed, which is most people, I guess.
Yeah, probably.
But in places that do sex ed that isn't based on abstinence, they will have a separate class for girls and boys. I remember we separated and I had to watch the boys' puberty video.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And they told me that I was going to start looking at the girls around me differently and didn't go into more detail. So I started waiting for that. I'm like, all right, I'm supposed to... I don't know, they look the same to me.
Are they supposed to, like, turn into dinosaurs or something?
Well, the thing is, I had very intense crushes since I was 4. So nothing about the way I meet a pretty woman now is different than when I was 10. The people I know who are, like, very much cisgender and heterosexual, I'm like, hey, when did you start liking girls? And they're like, oh, when I was, like, 12, 13. I'm like, really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, all they need to do in this episode, they don't really need to write that many funny lines about Grunkle Stan giving the talk. All they need to do is set up that Grunkle Stan is about to give the talk, and then cut away, and whatever you imagine is funnier and more horrifying than whatever they could write.
Although, I do love the way he introduces it, because they do have to have him doing it enough that you know what they're cutting away from.
Yeah, they have to give the setup, and the setup is...
It all begins with this little fella, the pituitary gland. He may be little, but he has big plans.
Which I pointed out sounds like a Simpsons line.
Yeah, and you're right.
Like, if you had told me, remember that line from The Simpsons, I would immediately be gaslit. Like, oh, yeah!
Yeah.
If you did it in a Homer voice.
You know, that was a Simpsons reference. Oh, you're right.
At the end, Mabel sympathizes more with Dipper, not from spending a day in his shoes, but from literally learning the inner machinations of his human anatomy.
You're right, because she really doesn't have to do anything that Dipper would normally have to do. Dipper has no obligations in life.
One of the first Gravity Falls jokes I made that got a lot of attention was,
All right, good, kids. Invite all your friends. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Dipper. I that was inconsiderate of me. Mabel, invite all your friends.
and so I made that joke in 2015, but I'm constantly reminded of that joke because I got a lot of comments quoting it. And so when I rewatch the show, I watch it from that angle, and sure enough, Dipper does not have a single friend.
I don't know, they make a joke in Hand That Rocks the Mabel about how he's always doing guy stuff with Seuss, but I mean, not really. Seuss is kind of just both of their friends.
Oh, yeah, have you seen Seuss and Dipper hang out without Mabel present?
Rarely.
Not yet, I don't think.
Just very sparingly. I feel like fighters, kinda. We were literally talking at the screen when Dipper is like,
Everything was fine until you started bringing your friends around every night. I mean, hanging out with you this summer's been fun. But now you're always with Candy and Grenda, and I'm, like, just left behind.
Oh, Dipper.
oh, Dipper, you need to get friends.
Yeah, okay. But, alternatively...
Yeah, and it's not that I don't think it's a good arc, because I like it as a conflict.
But they have to give Dipper something new. Dipper has never received the talk before. So, Dipper...
Yeah, they have to give Dipper something new to impede Mabel while she's in Dipper's body.
Yeah, because Mabel has friends and thus has a schedule.
Yeah, so has something where it's like, uh-oh, Dipper's in this situation now.
Dipper has to do Mabel things. But
what are Dipper things?
if there's already a paranormal thing in the episode, which is the carpet, there's nothing left for Dipper to do.
Yeah.
And so there are a couple additional body swaps happening while this is going on.
Oh my god, yes. I love... This episode completely... It goes the extra mile in so many ways, with the body swapping device being very interesting, the design changes when you're swapped, and the entire climax of this episode, Seuss... having swapped bodies with Waddles, runs into the room, is being chased by McGucket, who's trying to eat him, who is himself being chased by Blubs and Durland, and,
It seems like the body swap between Waddles and Seuss doesn't change much.
No, I don't think so.
And then I love the climax where there's just a series of body swaps.
Yeah, because now, of course, Candy and Grenda are also in the mix.
Candy, Grenda, Blubs, Durland, Seuss,
McGucket.
Waddles.
Yeah.
And McGucket.
Yeah, so it makes for so many fantastic little design changes of all the characters.
And I love that when Grenda winds up in McGucket's body, she says, "I'm Santa Claus!" Which reminded me of when Dipper in Bottomless Pit was like, "Wait, you're that guy!" And I'm like, does no one know McGucket?
Yeah, because earlier, Durland sees McGucket run by and calls him a bearded witch. Even though he's seen McGucket before. He's made fun of McGucket before.
It seems like no one in the town remembers that McGucket is.
And I love that for as much as no one remembers his name, he's constantly saying it. He says it as he's walking around.
McGucket, wow!
Like a Pokemon.
Exactly. And the episode confirms that Deputy Durland is a Gemini. Thank you for the representation.
Have we had any other birthday confirmations yet?
I don't think so.
Okay, so that's the first one.
Yeah.
On Birthday Watch.
So if you're watching this at any point from about mid-May to mid-June, wish Durland a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Durland.
So the ending of the episode where we kind of wrap up the emotional arc is that Dipper ultimately is given the new room, and he moves all his stuff in there, and there's this moment where they're both saying goodnight to each other, and you can feel, like, just the hurt of, like, them realizing that they're not sharing the same room anymore. And I even love, earlier in the episode, it's all set up where Dipper, I do like that even though Dipper could honestly just get a friend, I like that his anxiety about drifting apart from his sister manifests in this anger of, like, maybe we shouldn't even share a room. It's this very interesting, like, it's not what he wants, but it's how his emotions are manifesting. And when he says that, Kristen Schaal does this fantastic delivery of, like...
Well, maybe we shouldn't.
Fine by me.
Double fine by me.
where you can hear the hurt, and then you can hear it transition into the argument. And then it comes back at the end where you almost think, like, are they really doing this? Are they really, like, separating rooms? Because when I was first watching it, I kind of did think that it was going to be a status quo change. Like, I was not sure if they were going to go back on it or not. It just seemed like it was getting very close to the end of the episode, just in pure runtime.
And then the solution is that Dipper calls sleeping in the same room as Mabel a sleepover.
Yeah, and it's so sweet!
As if, like, this is not where they are in their life anymore, but it can be a fun, once-in-a-while thing.
But they do move back in together, so...
They do. I bet when they move home, they start talking about... When they go back to California, they're like, hey, we've decided we outgrew.
Yeah, it's just it's a very sweet ending, and it's, like, rescued from the brink of being a sad ending, which always gets me.
I mean, that's the theme of this show. That's where we've been going. That's what we're moving towards. It's that they are 12 on the eve of teenagerdom.
It's all about the transitional period.
When they were babies, they were identical because they were twins and babies.
They occupied the same womb. And will they occupy the same room?
As I said about my sisters, as they got older, they developed unique personalities. So that's not something you're born with.
Mm-hmm. They have to figure that out about themselves.
This is them trapped together during what otherwise could be, you know, their last days as friends and not just family.
You said it's their last days as friends?
What could be, if they were not trapped together on this vacation, these conflicts might not have been resolved the same way.
Yeah, you know, you're right. I would argue it's even turning them from friends because they're family into family, but also they're friends because they're developing personalities and then reassessing their relationships. And it's like, okay, well, is this a person that I want to be around, or is this a person that I'm around circumstantially?
Charlie.
Yes.
Have you heard of living rooms?
Are you saying that there's a room that's alive?
Yes, so that's what a living room is. I'm sure everyone's pieced that together. It's pretty simple etymology. What is the living room? That's the word living and the word room. What you might not know is that many rooms have life, not just the one with the sofa.
Huh. Explain how.
The Hall of Conspiracy is alive.
The Hall of Conspiracies has been alive this whole time?
The Hall of Conspiracies has been alive this whole time, but it and the aforementioned living room had a bit of a switcheroo.
Oh no.
The old switcheroo, the new switcheroo, the works.
So why don't I guess we're gonna have to go visit, the living room? Technically the Hall of Conspiracies?
So let's sit down on a sofa with a fish tank behind us and talk about the conspiracy.
Nice axolotl.
You sure axolotl questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, right this way to the Hall of Conspiracy.
So to make up for the lighter episodes that we've been having in the Hall of Conspiracies, we had a lot to cover here. So first up, from the Gravity Falls subreddit, we have a post by u/UncScrewtape.
Which is short for Uncle Screwtape.
Yeah. Good old Uncle Screwtape. Who posted a screenshot of one of the moments from Mabel's sleepover, in which Grenda pops out of the closet in Dipper and Mabel's room and says,
I don't know what I was kissing in there, but I have no regrets!
And then the post is, was Grenda making out with the invisible wizard? Because in Little Dipper, of course, Mabel suspects an invisible wizard in the closet.
Now what I love here is, yeah, Gravity Falls is going to become yeah.
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 Could just say
Falls.
F yeah, I guess.
I'm just going to say f***ing.
Alright.
And the blog Yeah, Gravity Falls posts a mysterious portrait found in the hidden room. I suppose it could be nothing. On the other hand, Charlie, is that White Diamond?
I don't know. We don't really know who it is. It doesn't look like any character that we've seen before, but it's very like...
It's a Pearl dressed as White Diamond.
Oh, it's a cosplayer.
Doesn't it kind of look like that?
I guess. It's a very specific drawing, and the fact that they have 4 screen caps kind of to show that it is consistent throughout. And again, we're getting that, like, maybe it's nothing, but nothing's really nothing. So there's basically the rest of this Hall of Conspiracies is just going to take us through this hidden room, all the little details. GravityFallsConspiracies.tumblr.com. Another faller has submitted a screenshot comparing the glasses that Stan picks up when he walks into the room to the glasses that are on the wheel that Bill appears on, the triangle guy, in the opening sequence.
And then Invisible Wizard in Closet, how appropriate, points out that they look identical to the younger Stan / someone believed it was an older Dipper from Time Traveler's Pig.
Yeah, whoever popped out of that mystery shack that was all in the snow has those same glasses. So there's a lot to unpack here, and in the Reddit discussion thread of the episode, Reno Brony says, so the glasses finally make a comeback. Given that the symbols in the circle on this screen seem to each represent a different person, and Stan's already represented by the crescent moon whatever symbol that's on his fez, my guess is the glasses were from a different person. My guess, Stan has, or at least had, a brother, possibly a twin. Here's why. Number 1, the quote-unquote younger Stan from the past, in the Time Traveler's Pig, had both a different hairstyle and different glasses from present-day Stan, but otherwise was almost identical. Number 2, there's some confusion on his name. It's been confirmed that Stan's full name is Stanford. Yet, why does his license plate on his car say Stan Lee? Maybe there were 2 brothers, Stanford and Stanley, and something happened to one of them. This brings me to my next point, number 3. Stan obviously knew that the secret room was there. One of the first things he did when it was open was to take the glasses and hide them, and can be later seen thoughtfully looking at them. I will add, myself, that he has very specific body language in this episode, which is always something I noticed, going back to this post. Seuss didn't know that the room was there, so who does that leave who could have sealed it off? Really, Stan's the only one who could have hidden it, maybe to try and block out some painful memories of the past? This could also explain why he was looking at the glasses the way he was. It's also possible that the current Stan is an imposter. He could have taken his brother's identity, or Stan could have been an only child, yet Grunkle is someone impersonating him for whatever reason. Keep in mind the cryptogram on the page above. Stan is not what he seems.
And KS Zymes replies, I'm going with brother that was responsible for writing the books. Stan is staying in Gravity Falls to 1, protect the secrets of the Mystery Shack, his brother's base of operations, and or 2, wait for his brother's return, or 3, possibly keep on his brother's memory. Maybe his brother died researching Gravity Falls and Stan is protecting the town from the same fate. This new room is/was Grunkle's brother's room, boarded up and hidden after his brother's disappearance/death. Why Stan still uses the vending machine door is a mystery to me. And I don't know if he's an imposter or not, but I love the Stanford Stanley thing.
And Horse Steroids commented in the discussion thread about the calendar in the room, in which July 4th, 1982 is circled. The importance of the calendar being on July is that Dipper's journal is dated July 6th. Also, the calendar is from 1982, and the management book Mabel found under the table in Boss Mabel was from 1983. What I assume to be Stan's brother went missing in 82, and the Mystery Shack opened a year later, or so it seems.
Venture Boy comments, no one's commented on the fact that Stan took the carpet. I thought that was incredibly intriguing. What is he going to do with it? Burn it? Hide it? Experiment with it? These are all questions.
Yes, talking about how at the very end of the episode, after clearing out the room for Dipper to be in it, and then later Seuss, Stan has taken away the carpet. And Giganator says that maybe he switched bodies with someone else and is now hiding/destroying the evidence.
The unfair sex writes, he was outside late enough at night to get hit with that eye golf ball.
And Gissy Man Love says maybe he threw it in the bottomless pit. There's definitely something going on.
So Charlie, back in 2013, how did you feel about this theory?
Yeah, so I didn't care for this theory, personally.
Didn't care for this theory. You openly hated it.
We openly hated it, Ella.
We openly hated it. I think this might be part of how we bonded. I mean, obviously there was Muppets and Weird Al.
It's just at this point in the series, I remember it felt just very over-the-top angsty. Like, it wasn't like...
Yeah, like they're talking about someone trying to preserve the memory of their dead relative.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if this is the show for that, but... You know, I was also very much just along for the ride, and so to have...
You were like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Whatever happens,
I didn't want to claim that I knew what was going to happen, so I'm just like, I don't know, maybe...
If people were like, this is my AU, what do you guys think? I'd be like, oh, that's pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, I remember thinking that too. I remember thinking, this is a fantastic, like, universe that you have come up with here. I don't know if it's true or not, because I don't really want to know what the truth is.
Yeah, I was like, all right, so you just treating it like it's canon, it's incorrect. It's an AU, and it's a great AU, but, like, please, like, guys, this is fan fiction.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to read this one?
Gravity Falls Conspiracies posted this. It was submitted by Triangle Leaves. All right, so you know Stan's calendar? It's stuck on the date July 4th, 1982. I researched that date, and apparently a nuclear test was run in Russia, leaving hundreds infected with radiation. Above the calendar is an owl, leaving me to believe that somehow the radiation was transmitted from Russia to Oregon, possibly by owl, or maybe they're not even in Oregon at all. Owls are mentioned many times in the show. There are owl clocks everywhere, and even a gas station named Owl. The weird happenings in Gravity Falls could be due to the radiation from this test, possibly leaving Gravity Falls stuck in one time period. That was in all caps. That was my way to...
Yeah.
The calendar never changes months or years. The Smile Dip dates don't line up. The younger Grunkle Stan looks like Dipper. And so much more, it's kind of hard to ignore. What if, in July 1982, the entire town of Gravity Falls stopped aging, while the people in it kept getting older? Stan's secret room could be a place where he tries to search for an answer for this problem. And if he wants to solve that mystery, maybe he's actually Dipper from the future. Dipper obtains a key and a rational treasure. What if that is the key that opens the Mystery Shack? It opens all locks, so yeah, it opens the Mystery Shack. But other than that, I love it.
Only locks made in America. Flair Moved submitted to gravityfallsconspiracies.tumblr.com. The secret room from Carpet Diem doesn't seem to be the same as the one from the first episode, especially since Stan knew nothing about it and didn't object to letting one of the twins stay there. But what if it is? The carpet could have been the source of the eerie glow from behind the vending machine. The reason Stan doesn't seem to know much about it? He's a different guy in the same body. No one really knows of this body-swapping scheme, but for some reason Stan's body is at the center of it. So I am loving all these. This is a good haul. This is a good haul today. So...
We are trying to maintain our position as a no-spoiler podcast. This next discussion is one that originated with what appeared to be a leaked image from Disney television animation. So if you are using this podcast as a book club to get through Gravity Falls and really desperately don't know what is coming up, a leak has more likely to be correct than a fan theory. So you can skip to 44
minutes and 5 seconds. If you're less interested in the exact fan experience from 2013 at this point, and if you'd rather just...
Wait, did your voice just finish my sentence? Oh my god! I'm back!
We were in each other's bodies this whole time?
Yeah, we're so similar. It took me a bit.
If you had not pointed that out, I would not have noticed. So, in April 2013, right around the time that this episode aired, there was an image that was leaked onto 4chan, and that image was of a phone camera captured picture of a TV screen that said property of Disney TV on it, and had a production code on it and a date, and the screenshot is of apparently a younger brunette old man McGucket, a slightly younger man McGucket, shall we say, with 6 fingers on his hand, writing in journal number 3, because it has the same little monocle thing that is on journal 3 when Dipper finds it. So that was posted on 4chan, quickly taken down. I believe there were a few other leaked images as well that are not really that groundbreaking looking, just kind of like, oh, this will be a scene in a future episode. It doesn't really mean anything.
And then what did Alex Hirsch tweet?
Yep, those were taken down very quickly, and Alex Hirsch, I believe either the same day or maybe the day after, just tweeted, quote, "fuming right now," unquote. And that tweet was soon deleted.
So I did not know about this in April 2013.
Interesting.
I found out about it later when I got more involved with the fandom.
Interesting.
But I had pieced together prior to this that Old Man McGucket wears a cast that goes between 2 fingers.
Mm-hmm.
So no one in the town has 6 fingers, but there is someone with an injury where a finger could be.
Right. And you were also noticing that McGucket's an inventor.
Yeah, the first and second episode both have a scene where Dipper knocks on what he thinks is organic matter, but it plays the same exact metal sound effect, and I'm like, yeah, the same person built both of those. Obviously, that's what they're implying.
Yeah, so I don't remember what I thought before this, but after I saw the leak, which I think was right around the time that the leak itself happened, I kind of sat back. I was like, yeah, that is something they would do. Because, you know, again, in that second episode, the twist is that, oh, McGucket was behind the thing. Like, and in that one, it's kind of a joke. It's kind of a Scooby-Doo moment, but it feels like totally something the show would do, is like a parallel in a much more dramatic and meaningful way to something that was a joke at first, because they're constantly doing that. They are constantly taking things that are ostensibly jokes and then making them genuine.
Like the leaf blower.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Yeah, so it created obviously huge shockwaves in the fandom, to the point where the reason that we gave a warning for this section of the podcast is that it became a taboo thing. Like, Gravity Falls Conspiracies would post like, don't send theories about that leak. Let's just be respectful to the crew and the other fans who haven't seen it. Because, you know, there's basically 2 things that people were thinking. It kind of separates into 2 camps. One is like, this is real and we need to protect people from being spoiled. And the alternative is, this is not real. The blog gravityfallsinfinite.tumblr.com posted, "McGucket isn't the writer. I get it. It's all there and the evidence is irrefutable." It's like so irrefutable. "I'm almost positive this is all a hoax put on by not only the writers but everyone working on the Gravity Falls series. Think about it. This show is way too smart to have all this not-so-subtle hints towards McGucket being the writer. I believe the leaked image of him writing the book was a hoax as well. Sure, other scenes were also leaked, but that most likely adds to the hoax. Seriously, the writers are talented. The biggest mystery in Gravity Falls is going to be the biggest secret in the series, right? Why would they make Old Man McGucket the writer if it's been hinted at like it has? It's way too obvious for the old man who's gone insane, constantly shown to be an inventor, to have wrote them. The leaked image was to get the fandom riled up, to make theories more hyped and stuff. Why would a show that's so good at doing these mysteries waste it on McGucket being the writer and almost showing the audience he's done it? I won't be surprised if I get hate for this, but come on, it's way too obvious, and for a show like Gravity Falls, it's just gotta be a joke. It's just too obvious. But this was only like half the fandom in this camp. Like, there was not a clear consensus on whether or not this was real. It was very much up in the air. In a similar vein to, maybe it's an animation error and maybe it isn't, the idea that, like, maybe they're playing us here, maybe they're not, you know? It could go either way very easily. And it was Not gonna lie, something that kept me up at night back in 2013.
So, is this the first episode with a diegetic cryptogram?
I believe so. I believe this is the first example of a cryptogram. There is a credits cryptogram, but there is a cryptogram that is within the episode itself and not in one of the title sequences.
And interestingly, also, it's in Caesar Cipher.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in, they've removed 3 letters back from the theme song. They are testing their knowledge on earlier cryptograms.
Yeah. They're kind of making you go back. It's not in the A1Z26 cipher that they're now using in the credits. It's in the very first cipher that we learned. The cryptogram appears in the puberty book that Stan reads to who he thinks is Dipper, is actually Mabel. And it reads, "Puberty is the greatest mystery of all. Also, go outside and make friends," which is kind of what we were telling Dipper.
The cryptogram in the credits, which is in A1Z26, is, "But who stole the capers?" Which is a reference to the sibling brothers in the Caper.
The sibling brothers in the Caper Case Caper. Or no, I think isn't it the case of the Caper Case Caper? Because they stole the capers out of a case of capers, and now there is a case about who stole the caper, who performed a caper on these capers from the caper case.
Stupid joke. Love it.
Yeah.
If you want to find more episodes of this podcast, go to our host network, pipedreampodcasts.com, where you can find other shows like How Did This Not Get Made, Escape from Vault Disney, and Come On Fuhuku Pods.
While you're there, you can find links to our show's social medias and Discord server. You can also contact us at mysteryshacklookback@gmail.com.
Thank you to Brian for making the instrumental for our theme song, and for voicing Stan in the Hall of Conspiracies intro. Thanks to Simon the Dimbulb V2-0 for making the instrumental of the Hall of Conspiracies intro. Thank you to Adam New for sucking down all our spit good.
Phew! And thank you to you, Charlie, because I really feel like I understand, your perspective slightly better now that we've kind of been in each other's shoes throughout this whole escapade.
I don't think that's true. We didn't even notice we traded bodies. I think I already understood your perspective fine.
I agree. I was just trying to say something, kind of meaningful.
Oh, trying to conclusion-y?
Yeah, but you're actually right. I think we already kind of almost entirely understood each other's perspectives,
You know what's more conclusion-y than anything, though?
Oh, a song?
Oh, fading out a conversation as the outro song starts.
You mean
to
like
play?
an outro song that you can find at ellachesbury.bandcamp.com that I wrote? So, what happens to us when we fade out, though? Where do we go?
Well, we die forever.
Oh my god, no, help me! Take me back to the place I know with the mystery shack and the forest gnomes. I'm already packed, so come on, let's go. Don't get me started, my heart's in Gravity Falls.
You're fat and dumb and you're a dummy and take that!
Finally standing up to me, huh? I love it!
This has hire this man vibes.
Yeah.
Stan would hire George Costanza. Is he the George Steinbrenner of Gravity Falls?
He's a little Kramer.
A little Kramer.
But yeah, there's a lot of fantastic...
I always enjoy a little Kramer in my coffee in the morning.
Yeah. There's a lot of fantastic Stan,
Do you get it?
quintessential Grunkle Stan moments.
Like Creamer?
What?
Like Creamer?
Yeah,
Did you get it?
I got it.
Okay, cool. Just making sure.
Because he loves watching
his name
people
is
fight.
Kramer, and that kind of sounds.
I understand that, Ella. Thank you.